of time today, so we can invite many more questions. I have tried to finish it on time today so that we can entertain your questions more.
Yeah. So everyone, whatever doubts, whatever questions you have, please, you can take it up directly with Dr. Ashutosh. Please.
You can put on your audio, video and ask the question directly. Any questions from the last session also we can entertain.
Yeah. A lot of people that they were saying we had a lot of doubts in the last session. Please go ahead.
I hope people are awake.
Yes, yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Chintan here.
Yeah.
Sir, there is one patient. It's just a phone consultation was there. Online consultation was there. He was complaining about the pain while standing. Otherwise, there is no pain. And then pain was in anterior thigh and the tibial part, and bit pain of on a back. So it could be any kind. There was no fall. There was nothing was there. While sitting and walking, pain has gone out. So what could be the reason? Anything we can say on that?
So now what you have to ask for these patients is the pain specifically present at rest while changing position, and then does it get better with activity? So if again, age is important. What was the age of the patient?
It was 35, sir.
Okay, so young male.
Yes.
With symptoms of pain which appear with rest and they get better with activity, you should suspect some kind of arthritis. Get a CBC, ASR, CRP done.
Only on standing, sir. If he stands for more than 5 minutes, pain had started on that part.
So this pain is, I would say, if all the CBC, ASR, CRP are normal, then this pain could be due to some muscle imbalance.
Okay.
It may not be a very serious kind of pain.
Okay.
So it could be due to some muscular thing, like a sacroiliac joint pain can also be there.
Okay.
Which can present this way. Or so what I would suggest for them is to do some good rehab. It is your job basically to strengthen the core muscles, and I think these patients do extremely well with a good rehabilitation.
Yes.
One more thing, online consultation, even I do these days in these times where we have teleconsultation. So my number on the screen, you can refer, or people can contact me for an online consultation if they wish, or if you wish to refer, we can definitely consult patients who are not doing well. But for this patient, I think you can manage because it doesn't look bad to me. Do ask him two important questions, like he doesn't have any constitutional symptoms, like no fever, no loss of weight or those things. And if he is otherwise good, he should do well with some good exercises which you can teach him online.
Okay. Yeah, I had preferred for exercise, but then also I just ask us for that key. Is there anything online we can't say anything like that? That's why.
Doesn't sound bad. Only other thing to rule out is a hip pathology. See, early stages of AVN of the hip, they do present with anterior thigh pain, which is on standing, and it gets better with activity. So just maybe a X-ray of the pelvis with both hips.
Sure, we can ask of that. Yes.
Yeah, just rule out things.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir.
Hello.
Usually, yeah. Please go ahead.
Sir, this is Bhavika Keswani this side.
Yeah.
So usually we get females with PIVD, multiple level or they have an MRI finding or X-ray finding. So how much traction you believe in our OPD practice, what we do, that intermittent lumbar traction we give, how much it is, according to you, is justifiable to treat patient like this or being referred for a surgical opinion? This is B grade itself, it is a grade 2 PIBD, so we go with the traction. I know nowadays traction is little less preferred, but then to your opinion regarding this?
Yeah, so to be frank to you, I don't recommend any traction for the lumbar spine. It has got absolutely no role scientifically. But there are patients who require some kind of psychological benefit, whatever they have. If your patient wants to have a traction, you should give it, there is no harm. See, to pull a lumbar spine, you require at least 40 kilograms of weight. And I'm very sure you won't be using such high weights. It's just not possible. So
we prefer two-third of body weight according to that.
Even that is too high a weight. And as such, if it's a prolapsed disc, it is a sort of a unstable spine. So I don't advise traction. But what traction does is maybe it gives them some kind of muscle relaxation by pulling. So when there is muscle spasm, patients do feel better with these traction modalities. But as such, if you ask me scientifically, there is no role of traction in the lumbar spine, especially for disc herniation. Though spine surgeon or orthopedic surgeon might refer you for traction because there is no role of surgery. The fact that he's referring you for traction is there is no role of surgery.
For the cervical cases, cervical spondylitis, we get patient with the
again for degenerative spine, there is no role of traction at the cervical or lumbar. In cervical spine, like I showed you the deformity case, it had a big role of traction. In cases with facetal dislocation, traumatic facet dislocation, definitely there is a role of traction which can reduce the facet dislocation and we can get away without doing surgery. But for degenerative spine, you might give traction within limits what is permitted, but don't give too much of traction in the cervical spine. Only give it for comfort purposes. It's not going to cure the deformity, the pathology.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So we have a question. Does early intervention or surgery affect the prognosis in practice as per your observation or as per your experience in duration of hours?
Is it in relation to trauma or what? I mean, what's the pathology?
So we let's take it trauma only.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes, sir. This side Urmila here.
Yeah.
Sir, there's this patient, 50 years old, who had a trauma. She fell off the bike and she had central cord syndrome. So she had paresthesia when she was admitted, and so the surgeons at that time told that she required the fusion of the vertebrae in the cervical region, C3, 4, 5, if I'm not mistaken. And but eventually the thing happened ki we exceeded 72 hours. So they recommend there's no point in doing the surgery now. Even though she was admitted immediately, because of the investigations and the discussions that were happening in between the surgeons, it got delayed due to some other reason. And after some time, when she confirmed if she needs the surgery, the doctors were like, no, she has passed 72 hours, so there's no point in doing the surgery. So does this matter?
So here the question is, why was the surgery offered in first place? So suppose it's an unstable spine, it's always recommended to do a fixation and fusion. If it's not an unstable spine, and if the neurological deficit is recovering, or if it is as mild as a tingling numbness only without a motor deficit, you don't really require surgery in these cases. So if it's a progressive deficit, If it's progressing gradually, then definitely they should be operated as early as possible. If it's a static deficit which in fact is improving, they might have found that maybe her deficit is improving or something, then it need not be operated if the spine is stable. So I have had a patient with cervical facet dislocation. She was offered surgery, she refused surgery, and she carried on not much deficit, some radicular pain in the upper limb. And she came to me after around 6 weeks or so. So at that stage, there is no point in doing surgery. She doesn't have a deficit. She has some radicular pain which was getting better. And now the facet dislocation is present. But the facets have become fibrosed in those dislocated position at the period of 6 weeks or so. So now to sort of break those facets, reduce the dislocation and fix the spine, I'm only going to give her a stiff spine. So that is not required. She's managing, it has stabilized, auto-stabilized itself. It depends on what the pathology is, but many a times if the patient is improving stable spine, you need not operate.
Hello.
Okay. Sir, hello. Just
Yeah.
to continue my question, this patient, it's been almost a year now, and she still has symptoms, but only in her one hand, like along the course of the radial nerve. So, is there something yet that can be done? Because when she visited her neurosurgeon, he was like, "There's nothing can be done from their side. It is only physio who can see." And this was maybe 6 months back, but still there are symptoms. So, is there any possibility that it might worsen with her age, like in next 5 years or so?
See, have her symptoms improved since the time she had injury?
Yes. In the first month itself, they improved really good. Like there was very good improvement, like 80% improvement in the first maximum 2-3 months.
Yeah. So
Now
exactly this
still
is
there are
the
some.
point, that if they are improving and if they have improved 80%, see many of these trauma patients, they will keep having some or the other symptoms for a very long duration. Now, if you really want to know why the radial distribution symptoms are there, you should do a EMG NCV study. So a nerve conduction study should be done, which will exactly show where the symptoms are coming from. If the symptoms are from the spine, and if there is no significant compression, all you have to do is some symptomatic treatment, like some pregabalin, gabapentin, some those kind of stuff. If it is coming from somewhere outside the spine, like if it's some radial nerve problem, then that has to be treated accordingly. So do a EMG NCV study if you are really worried for the upper limb, and that will tell you the diagnosis why she is having symptoms.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
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 Sir, Nidhi, am I audible?
Yes, Nidhi, please.
Sir, nowadays it's quite difficult to deal with a obesity patient with any kind of spine condition like PIVD or lumbar disc prolapse, disc herniation. I have one patient who has a hyperlordotic curve and with varus deformity. Somehow varus deformity or osteoarthritis, she went for a replacement surgery and the knee deformity is corrected. But L4, no, L5S1 listhesis, she is getting relief. We give her proper strengthening exercises and brace support and all. But within a 1 to 2 months, she is normal. And I think so. Just third month, she came to me and again with a problem of pain, severe pain. We firstly deal to relieve the pain, but repeated this kind of things are comes again and again. So shall I suggest her for a surgery because these 3 episodes are going on. She taking treatment and she go back continuing with exercises at home, and just after 15 to 20 days back she come again with the same intensity of pain, and her walking pattern is also very not well. like more like a antalgic gait. So
Yeah.
what's your suggestion for it?
So I will have to see your scans